hired provost at Madonna University, which is a school, when I was there, it had about 4,000 students. I suppose that's all you need to know. I've been retired for 2 years, and so I'm not used to facing this size group anymore. I'm the chair of the Higher Learning Commission team for this visit, and let me explain a few things about what the Higher Learning Commission is all about. The Higher Learning Commission is what they call a regional accreditor. Its region is the north central part of the United States. And they ask us, who are academics, we work in different institutions, to be peer evaluators or peer reviewers, which means we're not professional at what we do. We represent other institutions that seem to be doing well. We have had training so that we can conduct these sessions, but we don't work for the Higher Learning Commission. We are peer reviewers.
I'm sorry, you say you don't work for the Higher Learning
No.
Commission?
No.
So, I'm a little confused.
The Higher Learning Commission asks us to come and conduct a review. Then we write a report and make a recommendation, and it goes back to the Higher Learning Commission. And then the Higher Learning Commission has a series of meetings to review what we report and to make a decision about that.
Okay, so as reviewers, all right, I understand your role now. Why is the Higher Learning Commission not here too?
Why are they what? I'm sorry.
Not here as well?
Because that is not how they run things. They don't send staff to do these, because the premise is it's peer evaluation. Institutions are judged in terms of what peers at other institutions understand is going on at the institution. Yeah.
Yes, so to my knowledge, I know there are 5 criteria that you have to receive as a school for accreditation that you all look for. Are you all the members who look at that criteria in comparison to the students?
Normally we would, but in this case, this is called a focused visit, which means that the Higher Learning Commission has identified particular things that we have to look at. So we're not looking at all 5 criteria for accreditation. We're looking at very particular things.
Right, but you're not able to disclose that to us.
No, we're not able to disclose that to us, to you. We're not able to disclose it to the administration here. We write a report, it's sent to the Higher Learning Commission, they review it, then it's sent back to us, then we send it to the institution. The institution has the opportunity to respond, and then it goes into the Higher Learning Commission.
Okay, I have a question. This particular review you're talking about, for what period? Because for what I know, this school is closing officially by December.
Right.
So this review for accreditation, I want to assume that is what it is, whether to give the school back the accreditation or whatever the reviews, is for what period? Is it for the period between now and December, or for a continuation?
No, it's because of the announcement of closing, it's from now until December, the end of December 31st.
Well, and probably before for the graduates, right? From
Yeah,
January when they lost it.
Well, yes,
Yeah,
you
so
know,
it'd be
it's-
that whole period.
right.
So meaning, with or without, the school is still going to close?
We have nothing to do with the closing.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that, I'm not saying you have.
No.
Something, my question is, this review is for between now and December?
Yes. Had the school decided, had not the school decided to close, it would be for forever.
Right.
But because the school is closing, it's just till the end of the time.
So not January. So,
Well, it's December 31st, it's the official date that the school
We're
has
asking if
used.
the accreditation was lost in January.
Yes.
All of our classes will be just released.
Well,
So anybody that graduated or had classes from January to June and graduated in June, you're telling us that the classes we did from January to June
No.
are not accredited? Okay.
And even if you restore accreditation, that there's no way to make up for.
Money.
I mean, they gonna have to cut the check
No.
someday, right?
yeah, no. If, the thing was, in November through January, the institution, they changed their control. In other words, they were now owned by a different organization. And this kind of reversal to candidacy was occasioned by that change of control. The idea was that when a team came in July, us, we would certify that certain things were taken care of and everything would be fine. But then all these other changes happened. So now we're looking at more than just those areas of focus. I'm sorry to ignore
Okay,
you.
so we lost our accreditation in January. That's 6 months ago. Why on earth are you coming and doing this meeting in July? Our school is closing, so really, what's the point of this meeting?
That's a good question.
I mean,
Yeah, no, that was the original decision at the time, in January, that there would be a review after 6 months. Honestly, I had nothing to do with it. It was, a decision within the Higher Learning Commission. Okay, why don't we hold off on the questions until we finally finish introducing who's in the room. My colleague.
I'm good.
Stand up, so your
My name is Ken Schneck. I'm a professor of education at Baldwin Wallace University, which is right outside of Cleveland. I mostly teach courses in leadership. Most of my courses are about race, how we talk about race in society, how we don't talk about race in society. I've been with the Higher Learning Commission for about 4 years now, and then I come to this work. I was a dean of students for 10 years. So I was a dean of students at various small liberal arts colleges in the Northeast, and then moved to Cleveland.
We also have two observers from the Illinois Department of Higher Education. I'll let them introduce
I'm
themselves.
Stephanie Bernstein. I head academic affairs with the Illinois Board of Higher Education. And my colleague Gretchen Moman and I are here to make sure that as the school moves through closure, that you as students and faculty and staff who are in the room are given the correct information. We want to make sure that you know what your options are and that you're given that information correctly in the coming weeks.
Can we ask questions to the two ladies in the back as well?
Will you entertain questions from the?
Can I ask one? So, is that okay?
It's fine with me.
Because I feel that HLC reviewers are not gonna be able to answer these questions. Did you know that Dream Center chose not to tell students 6 months ago about the accreditation being removed from HLC?
We are attempting to unpack exactly what happened, and that's part of why we're here to listen today, to see what you as students heard and did not hear. So it's important for us to know that you as students did not get that message.
I'm asking you as them as an employee of the higher education, did you know?
No, we did not.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, because I spoke to someone from the higher education, and he had the audacity to tell me that they were not obligated to tell us, even though we are investing students on this campus. So we have the right, just as much as they told us that we became nonprofit. That means they were supposed
That's
to
something you'll
inform
have to
us.
take up with the Department of Education right
She
now.
worked for the higher department of
Right,
education. I
so you
understand,
can
that's
take
what
it
I'm
up with
asking
her when the meeting's over.
And I'm asking her to take that and know.
well, that's what this meeting's for.
I understand that.
So
Oh, the LS Board of Higher Education,
Okay.
not the Department of Education.
Okay.
So just to let you know.
Well, I want you to take it in note then, because the person I spoke to, two people actually, told me that it's a closed business, so it's none of our problems anymore. So I don't understand, why is it not their problem, even though this is students under their department?
Just two more questions
Okay, thank
about the Department of Higher Education. Yes.
Well, I have a question and a comment.
Oh.
First of all, I'm Gerald Brennan from the Interior Design Department. I've been here for 33 years. I would like to implore upon you guys the importance of the graduates that have graduated, plus the current students, that they deserve to be accredited. Because in our department, we have never, ever cut anything back. Our department is ethical. We're on the up and up, and we work as faculty on the lead faculty. We work extremely hard to give them the best education that they deserve and pay for. So I want you to know that, okay? So that's number one. Number two, for everybody in the room, because I've been here 33 years, I've gone through lots of accreditations, just to give you some framework, including our own interdepartmental accreditation for our interior design department. And these people are explaining exactly, oddly enough, exactly how it works, no matter who's accrediting. They send a team of peers, which is just what they said. They do the same thing for our interior design department. So I just want you to know that this is like standard higher education structure, okay? I also would like to implore upon you I see there's some clearly concerns in the room, but these people need to know the importance of that you guys get accredited so that you can walk out of here with a degree. There's a lot of agendas out there, but in my professional opinion of 33 years here, that should be the most important thing. And these gentlemen and ladies in the back that are here are listening to all of your concerns, but that they need to understand the importance that you did nothing wrong, that you paid for your schooling either by cash or student loans, and that you came to class and you did the homework and you turned in the projects, and therefore you deserve the accreditation. So I'm going to leave the room because I have to go back and teach a class. That's how I am, right? But it's very important that you impress upon these people that concern, because they're going to write the report as to what you say. And typically, from my experience, the team leaders or the peer leaders will set the precedence of how the board will look at it. They take that into strong consideration. Okay, so I want to just say that to you and let you know what I think is the most important thing, and how you need to express in your own words how important that accreditation is to you. In my opinion, it means nothing to the college. We're closing. This is solely for you, and you deserve it. And you tell them that, okay, guys? Thank you. Yep.
And if I could just follow up on what you had to say, one of the responsibilities we have is to look at the impact of all of this on the constituencies of the college, the students being the primary constituency. So we're well aware of what this means for the students. We are committed to looking out for your welfare. But the institution has to prove to us that they're looking out for your welfare also. And that's the real key. Yes. This gentleman had his hand up.
Hi. Some of you guys know me, some of you guys don't. Some of you guys know, your fan club. So, when want to sit down because I hate standing.
Here's that.
Well, you guys stand anyway. I'm used to standing and talking to you guys and talking way too long, right? Like Mr. Barron, shut up? Yeah, okay. So, my name's Andrew Barron. I'm an associate professor in the Media Arts and Entertainment / Game Art and Design program. Okay. So, I came here in 2009, so I've been here 9 years, which makes me one of the new guys. Okay. So, what I want to do really briefly, because there are a couple of issues, and I don't want to speak for students, because you guys, I don't want to say something that doesn't represent how you guys are thinking about this. But in the last week and a half, I've done a lot of thinking, and I've talked to a lot of my colleagues and a lot of my students. So I've tried to put things together in a way that I think is hopefully coherent and cohesive and makes sense. Okay, so here's the situation. Here's the big situation. Cut to the nutshell. To put in a nutshell, accreditation was yanked, okay? Was it January 20th? Okay.
2018.
Okay, so a couple of things. In terms of the curriculum here, quality of students, I hope quality of instruction, maybe, okay? I've been doing this for a while, right? Didn't change between January 19th and January 20th, okay? So, I don't know, but let me surmise that HLC said for a lot of reasons, which had nothing to do with the students or the quality of instruction or the integrity of the school in any way, shape, or form, something happened. And I think what something happened had nothing to do with us. I think it had to do with the transfer from EDMC to TCH. Okay, that's what happened. As I understand it, that's what makes sense to me. So, here's what happened. Students, faculty, and staff, we, in the simplest terms I can put it, we were screwed. Okay? Were we not screwed?
Yes.
We were screwed. Okay, so why were we screwed? Okay, for a couple of reasons. Because I, as faculty of 9 years, didn't know we had lost our accreditation until my dear colleague, Andy Alton, who walks on water as far as I'm concerned, informed me, I think it was a week ago Sunday, that we had lost our accreditation back in January, on January 20th.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so after I picked myself up off the floor, right, I said to myself, what? Now, here's one of the biggest problems. Going forward, that's all well and good. Now, if you've read all of the information that the school has provided about finish things up, first of all, there are really big problems with that. Huge problems, but I don't want to talk about that yet. What I want to talk about is the fact that the 2 terms that students took classes here, all of those classes are now officially unaccredited, correct? Okay. Is that correct? Yes. It's a yes or no question. It's either they're accredited classes or they're not accredited. It's like being pregnant.
It depends
Right.
on what your
Either
major
you're
is.
pregnant or you're not.
The institution was awarded candidacy. Candidacy is not
So
accreditation.
the answer is, all of these classes are not accredited. So then, all of the classes that you've taken since January, are bullshit terms,
My graduation.
are useless.
No, that's contingent upon. No, that isn't exactly true.
Okay.
Okay. It's contingent upon whether or not, as a result of this visit, your accreditation is restored. And if it's restored, that period of candidacy is included within the, okay.
Let me finish guys, because I'm on a roll here. Don't throw me on a roll. But don't throw anything at me yet. Okay, wait till you get really bored, which will take about 30 seconds. Okay. So here's the problem. Here's the big problem. All of our students who've taken these classes that are unaccredited probably won't be, or may not be transferable to a different institution. Okay, so the question is, how much money did you guys pay per student to pay for a half a year of tuition? Listen up. This is a simple question, and I don't want you to answer this, because you're all gonna want to answer it and say, give it $1 amount, okay? What I want you to consider is, if you look at the total cost of tuition for this school for 2 terms, okay? And you guys should know exactly what that number is. It is a number, okay. So what you're saying to these students by what we need is retroactive accreditation since January 20th. That way the last 2 terms are accredited so students can take those credits and transfer them wherever they might want to go. If those are not accredited classes, then what you're saying, what the HLC is saying is too bad. Too bad. Because if you figure out what it costs you to take 2 terms full-time at this school, right, and it's loans and out-of-pocket money, okay, that and fees, everything like that, right? Basically, you were saying to these students, not you, but one would be saying to these students, too bad, you're out. Don't answer like how much it is. I would say, maybe comfortably speaking, 10,000? Just one person. One person. How much?
About 15,000.
About 15,000 bucks. Okay. So what you're doing is, if you don't install retroactively accreditation for the last 2 terms, what you're saying to HLC is, it's okay if you rob every single student in this school and in every school that HLC oversees. What you're saying is, it's okay that every single student has been ripped off $15,000. That puts it. So hang on, almost done.
Almost, okay, I'm gonna time you.
Timing. So my point is, it's absolutely critical that these classes are accredited retroactively. How many people can afford to just take $15,000 and toss it in the trash? I can't. Right? So, I'm gonna sit down in a second. The point is, you look around this room, right? You see, look at these faces, okay? We're not numbers, right? Now, I'm faculty. Who cares about me, right? I'll be fine, right? I'm not here for me. I'm here for you guys. I love you all.
Thank you.
You've all been you're all my demented children, okay? Right? But if you look at each student in the line, we're not numbers. They're not numbers. They're not ID numbers. They're human beings, right? And each student has now spent or borrowed $15,000. And it's not just that. They've had to pay for room and board. And that's okay, because hey, you had to live someplace. You had to live someplace, right? So, okay, room and board.
That's
But
about
the problem is that you also, in doing this, forget about the 15 grand they lost. It's more than that, because you've set them back 6 months in terms of being able to start their careers. And start their careers as professionals and start earning back some of that money.
Absolutely.
So it's not just that. And that's why I'm gonna shut up, I won't say a word, but I really want to make this super clear that you as HLC peers understand the gravity, the repercussions, the effect that it's having on literally throughout the whole HLC system. We're talking about hundreds and hundreds of young people, thousands of young people who just want to get a good education and want to go on and have their careers. And, you know, you guys, how many guys have mommy and daddy paying for your education? A little bit? Sometimes.
Thank you, but let me respond to this, okay? We're well aware of the consequences of this for students. And we're well aware of the fact that we need to look out for the welfare of students. The real issue is the Illinois Institute of Art had 6 months to prepare a report for us, which we have spent hours looking at, trying to understand. We spent the whole day today asking questions about that report to show that the school has met the eligibility requirements so that they can be taken off candidacy status and go into full accreditation. As much as we sympathize with the plight of the students, that's not the issue. The issue is, has the institution fulfilled the eligibility requirements? So that's what we're looking at. And I mean, you may have a great deal of pent-up anger about this whole thing, but it doesn't pay to direct it to us, because our determination is based upon the evidence that we're given. The school had 6 months to prepare this report.
So because they had 6 months, so because they had 6 months, you want they got 64.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There's not a question of suffering. We'll make a determination based upon the evidence.
So I'm sorry, I came in here a little late, so,
Yeah.
I mean, you got the report today?
No, we've had the report for months.
For months?
Yes, and we've been looking at it, reading it,
And you're making a
underlining
decision
it.
today?
I have an
No.
important question. Hold on.
Wait, no, there are other people who haven't had a chance to talk. So, sir.
That in January we failed the accreditation. So we were not informed since January. This school is responsible for informing us that we're not officially accredited because we can't give you qualified credit for a class, but yet they enroll new students coming in as nonprofit, but they have no knowledge of credit, that none of these classes have credits on them.
That's not exactly true. Because you're under this candidacy status. If your accreditation is restored, that period you were under candidacy status will count as being accredited.
But that's just 6 months.
Why
That's
can't
just
you
between
count
March and
those
December.
So you were accredited up until January 20th under a different management company. You had a change of control, and the institution not only changed its parent company, it also went from for-profit to nonprofit. And because of that, there are expectations that an institution should conform to the eligibility requirements. So in effect, the Higher Learning Commission gave the institution 6 months to prove that. That's why we're here, to look at those. The institution has been working on all of these issues. They have evidence up the wazoo that they have presented to us. Nothing that we heard today contradicts that evidence. So I think what you're saying to me is just not as relevant as it could be, because the outcome may be quite positive.
When will we know? Yeah, when will we?
I don't know. I know when we're done, when we send in our report, then we're done. And then I think it's going to be very quick. We were asked to expedite our report so that they could act
Yeah,
on
our
it.
folks hearing this answer, because I think probably a lot of you would want to know that the question that was asked was, well, what's the timeline? Right. So normally what would happen on another visit is that this would take months, and that's not what we're doing. We're going to be writing and getting this done, I suspect, in the next couple days, if not tomorrow.
Sure.
We then turn this into HLC, they review it. It's going to be an expedited process. So we are fully cognizant. We're not allowed to, nor are we going to approach this in a way that it's protracted, that it's totally drawn out. We want to get this done as soon as possible because you are in a different situation than other schools that we visit. So we acknowledge and are operating based on this is just different. What's happening here is different.
I have an issue with this. My issue is that whatever has been discussed here today is addressing between now and December, and it's like addressing 1% of this school. Not all of us are graduating in December.
Correct.
So we want to talk about we that are not graduating in December.
Right. But this is where, I want to give you the outlet that you want, but I want to give you the outlet that's actually going to help you. And for some of the things that you're thinking about right now, I hate saying it, we're not that outlet.
Right.
So the issues of what's going to happen after December, and this isn't private information, we just found out a few days ago about the closing. This wasn't a part of the way we were reviewing the information. So what we're looking at was the change of control back in January, and then all the evidence that has been amassed, and it's hundreds of pages of information and data for us to review. And then our purpose of being here today and tomorrow is just to check in with you all and faculty and staff to say, we call it trust but verify. We got the information, we trust that it's right. We're just gonna ask some questions just to make sure that it's right so that we can address solely the accreditation piece.
This young lady?
As much as we might complain about it and stuff, we came here and specifically here because of the quality of teachers, of teaching that is here. I know Merritt is excellent, Jason is excellent, this man is excellent, all right?
Yeah.
They care about what they're saying. They have taught us what we need to know. I'm pretty sure we have all grown as artists and as people because of their work, and that should be acknowledged.
Thank you. I understand what you're saying, and I also understand that students complain. I was in higher ed for 40 years, if you can imagine.
Look, no teachers changed in the time between when the other
Yeah.
people
This gentleman back here.
I hope this helps a lot of people in here. I just had my first class today at Robert Morris University. If you have a 2.0 or better, they are accepting your credits, accredited or not, because they have seen, if you go to Sun-Times or Tribune, the real reason why we are closing is because they are bankrupt. That's what they're not trying to tell us. If you look at it on Google, Tribune, or Sun-Times, that's the real reason why they're bankrupt. Robert Morris has heard about that. I applied Thursday, it was accepted Friday, and I had class today.
What major are you
And they have everything from, I switched over to paralegal, but they also have graphic design, they also have interior design.
What about fashion?
They have fashion design. They have culinary. They are accepting your credits, accredited or unaccredited, because they have heard what has happened with our 2.0 or better, they would accept your credits. I just want to put that out there. Okay.
Okay, so I'm technically a graduate, but technically not, because I have 2 classes left I had to complete. And I had to sign all this paperwork saying that I would come back after I walked and received my diploma to finish these 2 classes.
Right.
Now, if we actually get our accreditation back, say we do, are our degrees gonna be grandfather clause? Is
Yes.
this quarter gonna be grandfathered into where I will actually get the accreditation for my degree? Thank you, you answered so much more than Dream Center right there.
Well, and may have gotten myself into a lot of trouble by answering that question, but absolutely.
Well, I appreciate
That's-
you answering it, risking your
That's
troubleness.
that's the whole premise behind candidacy, that once the candidacy period is over, the institution is accredited, and it goes back to that point that the institution was granted candidacy. That's the whole point of it. Otherwise,
Making
they.
sure that you were granting accreditancy even in this quarter and maybe the next quarter, whatever.
It goes back
All
to
way
the date,
so-
whatever quarters fall into that date.
Okay, so this
So it's
quarter
January
technically
20th.
falls into that.
It's January 20th.
Okay, just wanted to make sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell us what type of evidence you needed, like grades, how they're teaching us, their enrollment?
It's quite an array. So just as a few examples, we're looking at, you have a mission statement of, right? It's in most of the classrooms. You have a mission statement.
Right here.
See, there it is.
The Illinois Institute of Art,
Totally know.
an institution of higher
Or you can read it.
education, inspires the passion, creativity, and innovation essential for students pursuing the skills and knowledge for a career in the creative and applied arts.
Right, so sample questions that we have, we know that you had a mission statement. Your mission statement didn't change when you changed ownerships, but that's the kind of thing that we had to come and make sure, hey, are you operating in a different way under new ownership? Looking at, just trying to come up with another example.
Governing
Yeah.
board, administration, policies and procedures, something called stability. Please don't make me think you're all unstable. Right? Information to the public, financial capacity, integrity of business and academic operations. I mean, those are the kinds of things we had to look at. Now, obviously, the context for this original review was that the institution would continue forward. The closing threw a wrench into that. So we also had to look at the capacity of the institution to offer a viable teach-out. And we have spent a lot of time today talking about all of the arrangements that are in place. Yeah, this young lady back here.
All right, so from the research I've done about EMC and the transfer to Dream Center, it does not look promising. From what I've read, what I've seen, and all of the bankruptcy information and stuff, it doesn't look any promising at all. And from what you have told us, we're part of this evaluation, is this correct?
Well, yes.
Yes?
Of course.
Okay. In your review that you are writing about the students right now, can you persuade or inform them that these students, including myself, I'm gonna transfer because I've seen what's happening. So I made my decision, but I'm gonna speak for the people that are choosing and don't have a choice to stay. Can you ensure that the students that have earned their degree recently and the students that are trying to take up, in my opinion, this crappy teach-out option, accredited degrees, because we all worked hard. And I understand, our emotions are irrelevant to you because you're just reviewers and they're just people observing you. But what matters is that we get our degrees because we worked hard just as equivalent as UIC, Columbia, Northeastern, Northwestern. We are working hard and we do have credible professors.
Nothing changed, as the gentleman said, nothing
Exactly.
changed
I know
between
you're repetitive
January
in this
19th
situation.
and
I
January
understand.
20th.
Yeah, it's a bit repetitive. But I'm only asking that you incorporate this in your review, that you help us get that accreditation just for this time period because we all deserve it and we all worked hard. And without that accreditation on our degrees, that could help, that lower the chances of us getting employed in our fields.
True.
Right, right.
Or, exactly, or going to graduate school, thank you. And there's a lot of people here that wanna earn additional degrees, master's degrees. I'm one of them, that's why
I just want the
have to
option
be.
of it, right?
There are people that
Yes.
deserve it.
I understand. I mean, I understand. I was a dean of graduate studies for 15 years. I understand how important it is for a student to graduate from an accredited undergraduate institution. That's not an issue. I mean, you're talking to people who have had a lot of experience in higher education.
I'm not trying to give you, like, trying to teach you anything, let me clarify that.
Well, I
I'm
could
just
learn
asking
a
you
lot,
to
but-
incorporate that.
Yeah.
Because I just want us to get what we deserve and
Sure.
want in general. I'm not trying to teach you or anything like that. If that's what you got out of it, I apologize. That's not what I meant.
No, I'm just saying that we appreciate the emotional reaction that you have to this. But decisions like accreditation go beyond the emotions involved. If the emotions would determine the outcome of all accreditation visits, then every institution, regardless of how good or bad they were, would be accredited, because everybody wants it. The issue is, did the institution do its homework? And what I'm telling you is, we have no indication that there are these outstanding deficits. This gentleman in the back there.
Yes, I would just like to ask questions for the students that are
Transferring?
That are transferring and the art grant we will be receiving, doesn't matter what school
Correct.
we will be transferring to.
Correct. As far as I've been told that, yes.
I mean, because for myself, I'm transferring to Northeastern, and I'm just wondering if I will be DR granted by it was.
Doesn't matter which school you transfer to.
Does it?
Yeah.
I thought that was like an AI.
There's all different kinds of.
But yeah, there's other art grants that would get into other schools. But it's probably different.
How about this young lady up here?
Like it might be like 30.
So what I want to know is that for the HLC, when you all actually put a school into that period where they don't have accreditation, but they're getting reviewed again in order to have candidacy status, are there rules and regulations that the school must follow in informing its students as though they have to tell them within a certain time period? Do you all have anything that enforces them or tells them that you must inform your students of this candidacy status? Or does the HLC not have something like that in place?
No, there is a requirement that the information that goes to students is accurate. And we've been discussing this issue of accreditation and how it's communicated to students with everyone that we've met today. Plus, we had an opportunity to have a teleconference with the president of the Art Institutes. We talked to vice presidents from the parent organization. We've talked to all the administrators on this campus. Yes.
Yes, they are in place. Okay.
That is an issue.
Yes.
And the question is, was there a good faith effort to inform students? Well,
That's something that we have to take up with the Art Institute.
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There's a difference too between a good faith effort and something.
What is that time frame? What's the rule for that?
January 20th?
No, I'm saying,
No,
like,
what is
what is
the
the
regulation that they must tell
rule
us?
of thumb
Are
for
you not
that?
able to disclose that?
It's usually timely open, and gosh, I don't even know that there's a specific.
There isn't a time frame.
Yeah, it's.
But it's a good faith effort. Let them know so they can make a decision that
Right.
sounds.
And so, I would just put out there, right, because this is, and as you said, this is an issue that you need to take up with your institution, that there's a difference between whether a delay comes from a misunderstanding or malice. Now, from your perspective, it doesn't matter, right, because it's a delay. But that's part of the questions that we've been asking all day. You know, you've already said it multiple times, that there was a gap between those, and that's certainly something that we've heard. Our role is to come here and ask, why?
And what they say.
So our role is to ask why. Yeah.
I have to say that's privileged information. We can't divulge that because we're not here to place blame on any particular person. We're here to understand the situation, you know. And so there are limits to what we can say. Plus, it's going to be on Facebook tonight, and I don't want to be fired from doing this. Right here.
Remind me, what is you guys' relationship with Dreams?
None. We had never.
Okay. None, right? All right, well, when the COO was here of last week, I was here one of those days.
Clyde Brown, is that who it was?
John Crowell. John Crowell.
Okay, see, when he was here, he was kind of saying the same thing you were saying. He wasn't putting the blames on anybody. He talked about how this and all this corporate stuff going on made an honest mistake, basically. All right, there are some people who graduated, non-graduate, I don't know about that, but I just started in April, so you guys were already under this status. And she just asked, like, was there a regular rule to inform students? Okay, you just said, yeah, and we're talking on that. Okay, well, I just enrolled, and I already paid, and one thing, all this stuff, everybody's transferring, and he just said, y'all are, the school went bankrupt. I mean, I'm an audio major. And honestly, as art students, for one, we can't take classes online. That's just stupid.
Right.
Another thing, all this stuff is hands-on put on. And I can't pass a class and work with a team if this person didn't left school because of this reason, that person transferred, this person went jobless and homeless and can't afford school anymore. It also requires a team. Like, there are a lot of brains here. That's what y'all don't know because y'all ain't here to see it. But when everything goes to fair, we're going to come down here, review, and all this. I mean, I'm not really trying to sound rude or nothing, but you kind of been doing that too, and you've been shaking like a stripper since you got in here. So, for real, and you've been a few times here, us entertaining questions. No, this is real. It's a lot of brains in here, and y'all are not seeing that. We all worked hard to get here, and honestly, the hard work I had to go through between finding somebody to do the project with, and all this comes up, and then finding a job, of course, all this is stressful. And to hear, and people, I know one lady last time there's some mothers and fathers in here, right? Y'all pissed off.
I want to talk about
Okay, you guys, so
I want to talk about money.
Something too. This is about, it's not about a moral thing, it's about an ethical thing. The school follow policies. We have to find out, what they want to find out is if you guys were informed properly. If not, that's bad for your accreditation.
Sorry,
you have to find out, but they're going to mainly find out too.
I want to talk about money and insurance.
Okay.
That's what I
What
want.
happened? We have two individuals back here.
Hi.
Young lady.
So I just have a clarification, because in that Tribune article, it said that students taking classes or graduating during the candidacy period should know that their courses or degrees are not accredited by the HLC and may not be accepted in transfer or to other colleges, universities, or recognized by prospective employers.
Right.
So the candidacy period was from January 20th to now. So that's basically, that's saying that it's absolutely not accredited no matter what comes out of this meeting right now,
Well,
right?
that's wrong. There were other mistakes in that.
Why nobody said nothing in January? And we now in July, somebody give me an email on the 3rd, right before the 4th.
This young man in the back, please.
I'm finding less and less to say about where we are because it breaks my heart. It really does. I, like so many of the other students in here, have just come because they want to better themselves, and it's not fair. I want to know, moving forward, what can accreditation agencies do so that this doesn't happen anymore?
Thank you.
Yeah. We can't change what's already taken place, and I don't want to say anything that has already been said in this room today, but I want to know, what can you all do to change the framework of how you all operate so that this doesn't happen?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have had to wait for a 6-month report. I would have given you one the month that you asked for it. I would have. And I think that the silver lining in this for me is that I have a level of insight that I would have never otherwise have been able to obtain, which is that I understand how accreditation works. I understand how accreditation agencies work. I know to look at acceptance rates. I know how to look at graduation rates. I know how to look at gainful employment rates. I know how to take testimonials from students and faculties, people that don't have a reason to lie about the performance of the campus or the college in itself. And interpret that for myself and see what is the right school for me. I feel okay about where I'm going and my future. But there are a lot of people that have been affected by this and they feel a little hopeless. And they're rightful to feel that way. There's a lot of downtime and waiting to hear back from HLC or waiting for DCEH to come and make an announcement on campus. There's so much downtime that is not being accounted for. And it affects us in every way possible. People have jobs or don't have jobs now. People, you know, they have mouths to feed. Some people are families of 3, you know, like parents. It hurts. It hurts because I know that I am not dealing with the worst extent of this situation, but that doesn't make that true for everybody. And I don't want to hear any more hypotheticals. I don't want any more sympathy. I want some empathy. I want people to actually reach out their hands and help us because we have been wrong. And it isn't our fault. Right. It's not. And it hurts.
This young lady is.
I don't know if we have control of this or not, but how will we, is this something we have to sit at the computer and refresh it every day to see on your site, because we can't trust the school at this point to know if we got that accreditation or not. So how do we?
I think that if everything works out well, they'll be dancing in the halls. I mean, they're not going to keep us singing. Well, I see.
Y'all realize that, right?
All of this accreditation talk does not apply to me.
Exactly.
I want to talk about what applies to me, because what we have been talking for the past how many minutes, we've been addressing like 1% of the students. I have an issue. The options we are given does not favor me in any way. I want to know how you guys can help me. We are given 3 options, either to continue and if you are graduating in December. I do not fall within that option. We are given another option to transfer to another AI and get 50% off. I do not fall on that issue because most of the schools are out of state. I have children. I cannot pick my bag and leave my children in Chicago. I do not have accommodation wherever I'm going to. That's okay. I'm just going to do that within the next how many we have between now and 30th to either drop our classes. So I have a major issue. We are affected by the same problem. I see no reason why they are promising 50% to people transferring to AI, another AI. Then if you have to go out of AI, if I have to go to another school, I'm getting $5,000 grant. That is bullshit. So I want something that, I have children. I've been in this school for 3 years. I could only work 21 hours a week because I have to go to school full time. That's 3 years of my life. That's 3 years of money. I'm doing fashion design. Apart from the fact that a class costs about $2,000, I have to buy all my material. I have been suffering for 3 years. So I can travel. I cannot transfer to any AI. I have to go look for a separate school entirely. Giving me $5,000, that is out of this way. It doesn't make any sense. And I don't even see any reason why by students that are affected by the same problem. You promising half of tuition to some of them because they are going to another school that is not even, that we cannot even trust that they are going to be around for the next how many months. Because another school closed before now. This school absorbed them. So if we will have to transfer to California anywhere, and if that school closes before other people graduate, so it does not make sense to me. I should be given the chance to transfer to any school that I want to go to and get the 50% off. That is my issue. So I need that to be taken down because somebody is close to committing suicide right now. Right. Because I really need a solution. I'm 47 years old. Even the intimidation that I face, having to go graduate and go to search for a job with 20 years old kids, now I have to be transferring. I cannot do that. I have children. I definitely cannot transfer to AI school. I want to go to school of my choice, and if they are giving 50% to anybody going to any AI, I should be given the same 50%. Right. That is my issue.
We want to make sure that you haven't had a chance to say a few words because we're right at the end of our time.
Okay, so, I don't want to, actually, I don't care about any backlash for this, but I understand everyone's emotions and I understand where everyone's coming from like how it has impacted us and things like that. However, what we have to understand is there's only so much they control. If they're only here to observe and to make the report, it's like, and I know it may sound like messed up because of the situation we're in, but it's kind of unfair to put that frustration on them because in a sense, like, they are just the observers. They're not the committee or they're not the ones that actually is gonna be restoring the accreditation or doing that. Yeah, no, but I understand. Right, which I understand that. Which I understand that.
Need us to understand our struggles. You
Right.
can just know that that's a
Right.
given. Like it's like what we even sitting here talking about.
And we knew that.
So that's what I'm saying.
There wasn't, we didn't come into this situation, again, I apologize, I certainly don't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine.
Right back.
Go ahead.
I can speak for both of us. There was nothing unexpected about this session. And there was nothing unexpected about the situation that we were walking into. That doesn't mean that we don't still want to give you that outlet, but we're also not going to stand up here. The last thing that you need right now is for us to promise things that we can't do. Exactly, and that's why we are.
I mean, I hear us, but it's not like they're gonna promise anything. They can't guarantee, they can't fix it.
One last question.
They hear us, but they can't fix it. That's what they want.
Well, can I just, let me just give a quick example. Let me give a quick example. What we can do in listening to you, part of our questions for today, as Ernie said earlier, weren't just, right, we can't say, and here's option number 5 for you, free anywhere, right? Like obviously that's outside of our control. What we can do, and what we have been doing all day, is, okay, we have been told you, these 4 options have been presented to you. Can we make sure, by asking our questions, that they can cover those 4 options? The question of, can we get a 5th, is outside of our control. We can represent that, I certainly wrote it down, and we'll pull that in, but our role here is to make sure that what's been promised to you can be done.
Okay, so if none of the options, none of the promises, if everything fails, like what from there? Like what's the advice from that point on? Like what do you
I don't know.
As worst case scenario, as worst case
Okay, one more faculty member, then we're going to stop.
I'm Sherry Charles, I'm teaching illustration department. Our part is very small, and I know that you're an outside entity and you're doing your job. But I would just, kind of like Baron was saying, sort of plead with you and I really care about all of you, and I just say that this, even the action of transferring out accredited credits, I mean, they're trying to do that now. So is there any, I don't know if it's possible, is there any way for us to get a basic idea of a timeline? Is there any way for us, should we suggest to our students to wait until accreditation goes through before they start to transfer, because they could maybe get more of those credits and pay less out-of-pocket money?
Thank you.
Thank you, yes. I mean, that's kind of a question that I'm wondering, because at Columbia, they're saying nothing before, nothing after January to transfer. So should we tell the students to hold out to see if those credits after get accredited, so they can save more money, because money is tight with these kids. And I don't even really know where to start to sort of like instruct them or counsel them or what to do. And I know that the people in charge of our committees and our advisors are supposed to do this stuff, but we're the ones also getting inundated with all of their concerns, and we care about them. So I guess all I'm doing is just pleading to try to make this go as fast as you can, and promise you that all of us have not changed anything since December, that we continue to teach at the same high caliber, and make sure that the students leaving our classes are getting the same education before 2018 January. That's all I had to say.
And I have to say, those kinds of assurances appear in the materials that we received. I mean, I mean, we were told that nothing has changed since January. And so the question is, you know, what's gonna happen now?
I would just
So
say that
we'll
this
do
is a
everything we
process,
can.
and we're just
I
trying
mean,
to speed this along, is what I'm saying.
our goal is to do everything we can to assure the welfare of the students. We're not discounting, and I apologize if I appeared rude. I was probably just defensive. I'm sorry.
Flustered, it's okay, having everybody come at you.
But
If it fails, what can we do?
if
it's
then I
not,
think you need to meet with the administration. And
There won't be no administration, because it's closed.
well, it won't close until December 31st. That's the promise that was made by the Dream City. I'm sorry, we have to go on to another short meeting, but I appreciate all of your coming. I know that this is a very difficult time for you.